so sorry to hear that so many people are so disappointed about what's going on. I have yet to comment on the music channel, Bruce's Music. Thanks to you, those of you who took the time to check out my hobby channel at the same time. For my robotic eye is going to be tripping out a little bit for whatever the reason. There's lots of ups and downs. I'm still zoomed out. Thanks for stopping by the music channel. But aside from the music channel, a lot of people are disappointed with the outcome of the UFO hearing. I'm really not. And there's a lot that was said. Also, David Grusch has a list of who's doing all these projects, even the private organization names and list of people that cannot be given to the public. We have to agree and understand, if you understand how clearances work, there are going to be some things that they can't divulge. Sure, they're always blaming it on national security, but this time they didn't go that route. They also said that there was very disturbing information, as David Grusch said, by the way. You have people on that committee, guys, okay? Sorry, not the committee. Aside from the committee or subcommittee, whatever you want to call it, oversight committee, you have David Grusch from 219 to 222, I thought, but apparently that was changed. I heard 222, that he worked from 219 to 222. Now it's 219 to 221, but David Grusch has all the proof and can show all the proof. But what they have to do is they have to get the clearance. But the names are going to be given to the government. If the government doesn't tell it to us, we still are going to know that it would be a cover-up. So that's a good thing. Don't forget, we've never, ever in our lives, nobody, well, that's not true. Actually, 55 years ago, if you were alive on this earth 55 years ago, like many of us were, Roswell was the last time where they had a public hearing, but nothing came out of the hearing. Bouncing back and forth this week, I did a lot, not just this week. I did so much research on exactly what's going on. You know, people say, hey, why don't you look into Stephen Greer? Guys, I am. Okay, I'm doing my research myself. What I'm showing on the moon is hidden. It's even more dangerous, okay, what I'm showing on the moon. And like nobody can deny that. Why? Because it's not even coming out. They're talking about abductions by UFOs on Earth, but they're not even talking about the moon. Could you imagine how serious that is? David Grusch, 2019 to 2021, has been on the Unidentified Aerial Task Force. Person over to the left that you were seeing, right? You were seeing Graves. That guy is in charge of protecting him, what David Grusch is doing. And the thing is that people don't realize it's not whistleblowers, any Tom, Dick, or Harry. It's not a civilian whistleblower. It's not somebody that's not working in science or not an astronomer. It's even higher than that. It's the ones in charge of SAPs and CAPs. That's another term that came up, right? We'll be talking about that too. There's access programs, all these programs, and they all have frontal organizations and subdivisions, and you know, they're all compartmentalized so that the people don't know exactly what's going on in the projects. I have a total understanding of exactly what's going on in the news and the possibilities and the outcome of everything. Because don't forget, we all know that, I mean, I'm not a physicist, obviously, my mother could vouch for that. But when I did a little bit of research related to my research and my findings, like something out of this world, photonics, the study of the science of light, either through devices, through manipulation, through every single thing that you can do with light, even through chemical reactions, what happens to it, you know. So David Grusch mentions quasi-projection into lower dimensions, right? Oof. Listen, Bob Lazar has been talking about this a long time ago. He was talking about the way it has to be done also. You can see basically Bob Lazar literally explaining how to build CERN, okay? Literally. And it's like everything exists now. That all exists. Don't get discouraged, guys, by, well, those of you that are. I'm a little discouraged because I would have liked to seen more, but honestly, I didn't think there would be more. Why? Well, because they're not going to sit down and tell a story. So yeah, here's how it started. We started at this address here. We started manipulating the people. My Canadian accent. We started Northern Canada. We started manipulating the people here and all this. And these are the addresses of the people we started manipulating on, experimenting on, cutting apart. Those cows that were all cut apart was us, because we had to do it with intricate tools that were never shown here on Earth, so that you guys would think it was aliens, but anyways, you guys didn't find out, or even if you did, we weren't going to tell you anything, so it's basically the bullshit that is going on. Quasi-projection into lower dimensions. Where did you hear that before? Right? How many times, as a matter of fact, last live stream that we were talking about the 3D world and the 2D world. Last live streams, we talked about what would a 3D object coming into a 2D world look like. And I have a very short clip, also 2-minute video, to show, if you're like me, if you're visual, to be able to understand exactly what's going on. I'm going to let some people come in here. Hopefully there will be 100+ people here. Random Ralph is in the house. Jules of Southern Oregon. Thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon, Jules of Southern Oregon. I hope you guys and gals are not too discouraged about what came out. It's mind-blowing what came out. Disturbing events that David Grusch said was most disturbing thing he had ever heard of. He was asked, I'm going to run through a lot of things here so we can catch up. David Grusch was asked, right? Burleson, there's the committee asking questions to these 3 witnesses, which, by the way, there are supposed to be 12 witnesses. So if you want to know if there's going to be another hearing, of course. Could they have fit all the other witnesses in? No. The interviews were done. We have Mr. Coulthard, right? Ross from News Nation, whether you like them or not. I'm telling you exactly where the information's coming out. You guys and gals know that News Nation had the exclusivity interviewing all these whistleblowers, and these whistleblowers are going to appear in hearings. David Grusch was asked if there was anybody that was, murdered. And he said, aside from what he said to the public or publicly on News Nation with Ross Coulthard, he said he will be able to answer that fully after you have sort of a vector run up on all that information. So it's not that he wants to hide it. It's that the public's not allowed to know certain things. I agree with you all that in general, they're deliberately in the past hiding things to the public. And I'll use the proper term that Tim Burchett, congressman himself, said. He goes, they're using an over classification where they're making it impossible for people working on secret projects themselves to have access to other projects because they're compartmentalized, right? The CAPs and the SAPs. They talked about that at the briefing also. I started watching the briefing around 10:30. I think I was about half an hour late or 15 minutes late before watching it. Couldn't sleep last night. I did a music video on the music channel instead and posted it at 3-4 this morning. And I was excited because for the first time, this is going to bring my research out. It's already out. It's going to bring civilian testimonies out to the public. They're admitting, we have to admit this, they're admitting that the system, reporting system for UFO sightings for both military pilots, commercial pilots, for citizens and amateurs that do not work in the fields of science or astronomy or ufology, they have no access. That was also asked to Grusch, or one of the 3 individuals, whistleblowers, which are all high-ranking status military individuals with a lot of experience in the military, right? One of them had only seen one of the sightings and is not even very convinced that UFOs ever existed, but he knows that he saw that sighting, right? There's talk about the UFO. I have to mention this, guys. The UFO that I got in front of the house now has more meaning than ever because now they're finally going to reveal the UFOs. When I first caught that UFO, I said, they just have to show once a same capture. And we did see something similar. The difference with my capture is that they said it's a clear circle, right? With the lights, of course, but in the center, a dark square. And you guys know that I saw a dark square with a hollow, see-through, clear circle around it, or light formation of circles around it. So the problem is that these guys at, I think it's Vandenberg, base. We'll be talking about the areas. There was also mention of Elgin Air Force Base. I'm up to par in all the news on the news side for sure. And everything makes total sense to me. If I lose my voice, I was singing a bit too hard yesterday. I shouldn't have. And I didn't overwork, but in a way I did, because I spent over 3.5 to 4 hours dishing up all the information, and not just information, but the ideals of the changes. I hope some of you feel the changes that are going to come quite obviously because of what's going on. It's the first time there's transparency. Don't you worry, Daggett. I'll say Tim Burchett, but still, these guys and Tim Burchett, who literally turned around and said Pentagon, CIA, FBI, all that should, lose their jobs. It should be shut down. The funding unaccounted for these 3-letter associations. Speaking of 3-letter associations, of course, David Grusch works, as geospatial agencies. It's, NRO, Unidentified Task Force. They have several titles sometimes, and sometimes they go through many. Sorry if I'm talking too close. They go through many different people and fields that they actually interact with. NASA, upcoming, NASA will be talking about their study on UFOs. No matter what you all think of it, it's probably about the same thing that I think. It is coming, though. The proof is coming out about them having to admit certain things. It doesn't mean they're going to admit everything. I'm just happy that they literally said that the government, and secret associations own, they have alien spacecraft. Nobody seems to be talking about literally military in charge of secret retrieval programs are talking about and dealing with, not talking about, but the other ones are bringing it out, football-sized effing spaceships. Not just one of them, several of them, many of them. David Grusch on Vlad TV. If you want to get informed with that, he's going to be doing obviously many interviews around, but Vlad TV is one of the channels, many subscribers, 5-6 million, talking about the different species. Why have I never ever talked about species here except for laugh at my little alien Milo? The back there has many names because he shapeshifts into different people. But anyways, with all due seriousness, aliens do exist. And hang on. My opinion won't change the world, guys. And Bruce can be wrong. Okay. It's a friendly discussion. But then again, I love debating. Anyone that calls me full of crap, I don't mind. Write it in a proper way so that the kids can see crap instead of shit or whatever. I don't mind differences in opinions. Aliens exist. Stephen Greer says 60 to 70 different types of aliens. The Ebens that were mentioned, I mentioned this again a couple of streams ago. We're well into many months now talking about this. Ebens are 39 inches. There's 60 or 70 different type of alien species. Now, what I'm telling you here is not confirming this. I'm repeating what Stephen Greer is saying. Let you all know that every single person that I address you about, Bob Lazar, Linda Moulton Howe, whether it be no matter who, right? It's only their opinions, and you have your own opinions. I understand that. I'm just saying, Stephen Greer, 30, 40 years there, talking about 60 or 70 different types of species. That's the only time I've ever talked about different types of species. I talk about the myth or the theory of the Anunnaki and stuff because it all remains not necessarily a myth, but it remains just a story that you hear. The same thing like my research. It's just a story except for what I'm able to show on the videos, right? So aliens, 60 to 70 different types of aliens. Do they look like monsters? No, most of them do not. The ones that we know of. And as a matter of fact, if we're talking about 60 or 70 different species of aliens, guys, I confirm anyways that Stephen Greer says that those are all documented species. That's a scary thing. So to give you an idea, how many different types of vehicles have crashed? What do they look like? Apparently the whistleblowers at the briefing were saying that they are more than, was all written down. I could have read it, but I think there's so much to talk about. We'll be talking about this Friday too. We'll be talking about it for 60 years, guys. They've been talking about NASA for 60 years. Yeah, they didn't go to the moon at the moment they talked about. I ain't going to confirm that no human has gone there. I ain't going to confirm no human lives there. I ain't going to confirm, all the theories. Breakaway civilizations, aliens working with humans, just aliens or just humans, or there's nobody there, it's drones or whatever. Robotic, automated surface. Anything goes in reality when it comes to theories. There's nothing wrong. And there shouldn't be any fighting about it, honestly. There shouldn't. I don't understand how people with flat earth and not flat earth can fight about that subject. I can't wrap my mind around it. But it's not because I can't wrap my mind around it that it doesn't mean it's, that I'm the only one in the world. Maybe there's more people like me that just don't really give a shite about whether it's round or flat. We're still stuck on it. All right. Can we break through? Not necessarily. Here's one thing that they're not bringing up. And again, I'm adding a theory. When they talk about them admitting that they're going out to other dimensions, well, hang on here. They're not actually traveling there, right? They're bending space and time. To bend space and time, you need to use the gravity A force, which is a nuclear force that can permit you, the atoms extend, the perimeter extends the inside of the atom, permits you to grab a minuscule microscopic charge and to amplify that by amplifying the gravity frequency and bending space and time. And can you hear what I'm saying? I listen to myself saying that. I'm like, what the hell? How can we be there? And again, like I said the last time, the knowledge, our knowledge of it is there, but our physical capabilities are not. We don't have the heavy material. And here's the thing. Materials that we should use are too heavy for us to take off from the ground. Elon Musk has a theory that stainless steel is what he wants to use. Well, good luck once you get to, 100 and 50, 60,000 PSI, a diamond, 65,000 PSI, the strongest natural material on Earth. They say that the palace of God is a diamond, ice crystal palace, a crystal palace, something, right? I always like adding those little cool things, right? So what's the strongest material naturally formed on Earth? And we're not talking about the periodic table where of elements where there are synthetic elements that were created after the first 94 elements, right? That are higher in atomic number, right? That could be used, and they're a lot more unstable. So the higher you go in number, the more unstable things are. So can you imagine for them to come to a conclusion and a perfect symmetrical straight line of getting out into space? They're teleporting, guys. They're not traveling. They're teleporting. That's my theory on it. There's, it's time traveling because they're bending freaking space and time. So they are traveling through time. They are time traveling, and they are teleporting and or materializing from here in essence. And now we can say that they are quasi projecting themselves into higher or lower dimensions. Can you quasi project yourself in a higher dimension? I don't friggin' know. David Grusch says he's has a degree in physics, and he goes, he can't understand what he's being told and what he's seeing. Exactly. What's the strongest metal on Earth? Ever heard of tungsten? Well, tungsten is the strongest, yeah, without a doubt. Tungsten has, we're talking 146,000 PSI pressure, okay? Can you imagine that? But it has no striking force, resistance. The minute it gets hit, no collision force, it immediately will shatter and explode. 146,000 PSI. Titanium, I don't know if it's 64 or 46,000 is the diamond. And so what do you want to make a spacecraft out of? Well, now there's a problem. Those heavy materials, at which we can't use tungsten, it's like using, I'll say, like somebody said, it's like using a chocolate extinguisher to put out a forest fire, right? You have a heavy rocket that you can't get lifted up off the surface. So, look, it coincides with the leaked FOIA documents, Freedom of Information documents that come from the blackvault.com that confirmed that the CIA or FBI, I think CIA, was doing secret, this is leaked information and documents, secret experimentation on the moon for time traveling and Stargate and teleportation, and they're trying to build and or find a material that is super lightweight but that is really solid. Now, why the hell do you think they want that? Because they're going to build a spacecraft. A spacecraft you can literally grab with a lift and store somewhere, but that can break on through to the other side where the doors went. Think of it. It's ridiculous. So now you know what they're doing. And now everything's coming into my mind, and it's scaring me because now the CERN are opening portals. They're creating dark matter. One guy says, when have they ever opened a black hole? When was a black hole ever recorded having been opened on Earth? 680,000 times per second, 24 hours a day, every night, all day long and all night long, being recorded at the CERN, smashing subatomic particles together, right, on a collision course to death, because basically they're creating new elements that are not even in our universe. I need a sip of coffee after that. So this is what's going to make me sleep well tonight, because my brain's not used to learning shit like that. And you know what? I'm explaining it, not the Flash. I'm explaining it in a way where dumbass Bruce is able to explain what's going on. Quasi-projection, I'm not going to have a thesis, I can't even say it, on it. I'm going to show you an image. I'm visual. When you see objects coming in like the UFOs from other areas, and hey, guys, those of you following me, I declared it in 216, 217. They're coming in from other areas, and when they come in, the light, the photonic light that we see around them is just that dimple in space and time that's being bent, which I'm going to also show you in a very short video. The difference between gravity A and gravity B. Look it up. Look at big physics websites, even governmental physics websites. They throw off gravity A. They're not talking about it because that's what they're researching to be able to travel to interstellar, space. And you can't do that with force and elements that we have in our universe. Everyone says Einstein was off on his theories of relativity and whatnot. Well, he wasn't exactly off on everything. He was right about something by saying that space and time, you have mass. This is not Einstein. A physicist said this. Mass affects space and time, okay? And space and time affects mass. The mass tells space and time how to curve, and the space and time tells mass where to go. So that's even after that, the sentence, I still didn't understand right away what they were saying. And I'm not going to be shy or hide or pretend that I understand. Everyone, Bruce, you know a lot about time dilation. What's the interpolation around the magnetism and this and that? I'm not going to bullshit anybody. We're living in a beautiful time where we can understand that, yes, for real, there are alien beings, and they are coming into our physical world. And when we say physical world, we don't know if the outside's not a physical world, but we hear of dimensions. Don't ask me how many dimensions there are. I don't believe it's countable. I believe that there are thousands or hundreds of millions of different dimensions and invisible dimensions and whatnot, and different element and material. And it's when they come here, these lights in from the 3D or 4D world, we're supposedly in the 4D world. Well, how come when you look at your shadow, people fight about this in science? They say when you look at your shadow, it's 1D, right? It's just showing itself a 1D. There's no 3 dimension to your shadow. Well, there is. You have a 3-dimensional shadow, but the dimensions that you can't see, you can't perceive on your own shadow. So I have chills because the very scary spiritual encounter that I had with 2 of my friends, I saw a shadow, which is just a reflection caused by light. The contrast of the Terminator line, light and darkness. I saw the shadow stop moving, hold his 2 hands like a fist, like it was resetting, is what I can only conclude to. Looking upwards, 3-4 seconds, and then the shadow of a person that was in the room started flaking out and running from us and was worried. Like it was flipping out. The shadow, my friend's shadow was flipping out, and my friend was watching it. was standing beside me and Eric, and Eric and I had our shadow on the wall, and my friend's shadow was running around the room. So there was a candle lit because it was an apartment with no electricity. So no, it wasn't the electrical source, but the light was the source. And I went into an incredible awakening. I'm telling you guys, the secret to the other side is done through lights. So start associating things like mirrors, lights, reflections, darkness, heat, different temperatures. That is also the same elements that would have occurred during, say, a Big Bang, which you could reproduce it. Human bodies, we're bending space and time all the time. I'm bending more than you guys if I'm a bit heavier, even though I've been fasting. Day 3 tonight. You're bending space and time in front of you. You're causing gravity to form while you're moving, or when you throw a basketball or anything you're doing. Gravity B, larger idea and spectrum than the gravity A, but the gravity A is the nuclear force and first tool to be able to get outside of our world. So they concluded they have alien spacecraft that can leave this physical world to go into other dimensions and come back, and they have to drive it. But humans cannot drive at the speeds that we are seeing these spacecraft drive around. So how many bodies do you think they would have retrieved with a football-sized UFO? There's a UFO that was buzzing Vandenberg launch site facility military base, and by the way, remained there for a while. A square, dark square with a clear circle and red, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 100 yards from the security guards, that they were swooping down over the security guards at the military base. Okay. It was the size of a football field. Let me tell you something. You know how they say that aliens are malevolent? It's going to come out. Who do you think they're being mean to? Yeah, the military. Why? Because they probably are not going to attack civilians. Maybe the military is doing something bad. Maybe they're doing something with frequencies that those beings know about. If they've mastered, if they're type 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever type of civilization, they know a lot more than us. Obviously, how do you think they're hiding on the moon? I told you guys they're using natural nature to hide themselves. And that's even more scary because they know nature. They blend in with nature. They can do anything. They're chameleons. They're the biggest magicians in the entire universe. And when I say they, we're talking about several species, right? Even though we don't know if Greer is telling the truth. I mean, I'm not just going to spend 100 years or the rest of my life just sitting there saying, well, must be a liar or something. Me too. I'm very doubtful about certain things, but I'm not doubtful that aliens exist. And it's not something that I want to happen. I don't care. I know that there's someone on the moon, whether it's human or not, they are there. And if you base your information on facts about science, whether they're true or not, we're not there yet. We can't leave this realm. It's impossible to leave this realm. Thanks for coming in, everyone. I'm going to show a very short video here to talk about this mind-bending information where I had an awakening. Now I'm thinking of a whole bunch of other possibilities and what they're doing now. I understand what they're doing. Asteroids will eventually become not asteroids, that they're actually UFO craft. They could be flying around in meteors and forming their own gravity by the spiraling around of these objects. Apparently, some comments that came in, in 2017 were actually not comets or asteroids. Oumuamua is on a list now of preparing to be declared having been an alien craft. The person, Graves, that saw the Tic Tac declared, was asked if there were any any doors or windows on the Tic Tac. There was not. It was literally Tic Tac and not Tick Tock, as I didn't really get the funny joke, as they keep laughing about. I'm going to share the entire screen here for a moment. So now you're going to hear someone that is not good in math and doesn't know diddly squat about physics. Well, can I say I know a little bit now? Yeah, I don't know much about the physics now. So imagine me trying to explain to you. Honestly, you're going to understand it because I'm able to use English words to talk about it. When they start getting into, big terms, channels, sometimes it looks impressive, but it's not understandable. Bob Lazar is so smart, and he explained a lot of things to me in ways where, a child or a regular student could understand instead of using big terms, right? And remains very interesting. So, all right, we are sharing the screen here. Open up my quasi-projection into a lower dimension. Hey, it's 2 minutes, guys. We're not going to linger on it. I promise you it's not going to be long. Because this week I've been looking into a lot of things and in a basic way to be able to understand and of actually very interesting way of explaining what's going on my own end with my research. So, how can somebody project themselves into another dimension? But aside from that, we're not there yet. So to prove how much we are not there yet, could you imagine a spaceship being able to communicate as it is bending time, leaving one area of space and going to another area of space and time? So it's hard to understand. It's not like they're bending the entire universe as they're going along. They're literally making themselves, dare I use this term? It's not the term they're using, but in a way, sort of like a wormhole. And be careful because they say wormholes don't exist, right? But you all know that that's what they're opening up at CERN, wormhole, black hole. How can somebody go there with a spacecraft in the metal that, don't forget, can't be too heavy on Earth so we can actually bloody launch it? Unless we build a spacecraft in space, right? Or a Dyson sphere in space, we're going to have to do it on Earth to be able to launch it. But aside from launching people and having your devices on top of it in the spacecraft freaking functional with, having already designed your own gravity and inertia and all that crap on top of it, well, how can you project data set into lower dimension space? I'm looking up at the problems that they have receiving data from satellites that are in interstellar space and how long it takes, and the data, the chromatic, and the scrambling and everything that is hard to understand. There's a whole bunch of problems that comes with communication the further we get out. Can't call in Haiti or Dominican Republic to talk to someone on vacation in Fiji Islands or something without having to wait 7 to 11 seconds to hear the person talking and to hear a really loud humming static behind the person. Imagine how protected those lines are. And yet they show the president who is talking to two people who landed supposedly on the moon, which, by the way, go listen to their meeting when they came back, said, 15 seconds to approximately 45 seconds of fuel left before, they landed. And he says, it sounds like not a lot, but 15 seconds is actually a lot in space. They were declaring having a problem with the ups and downs and lefts and right, looking around and disoriented, obviously more disoriented. And you can see them crumbling, fumbling on the platform where they just literally look like, well, I can't believe I'm sitting here lying to the public. So anyways, long story short, projection of high dimensional vectors also. Okay. So lower dimensional projection. So dimensionality reduction. These are things that I was looking into. Why? Because David Grusch mentioned at the briefing quasi-projection, that's how some of the UFO lights are appearing here. So they're actually able to be projected into the physical world partly. So do you understand why our friend Stephen Greer, if he is our friend, Stephen Greer, I know he has a special background too, told us that they're coming here in essence. So there's certain terms that they weren't talking about, and he's been talking about that for like multiple years. Look at it the way you want, right? Of course. So basically, since I'm no genius or a scientist, I looked at a couple of ways and problems that scientists have. I'm just overwhelmed that scientists are actually, no, these are not my corrections. I didn't make them. People are actually, for real, have jobs that they're working in quantum physics and, about quantum entanglement and about time travel and this. I mean, what the hell? It's hard to believe. I knew maybe, honestly, a couple handfuls of people were doing it, but the fact that there are actually associations and now even private associations that are doing that just for me, for me, it absolutely blows my mind away. We didn't even get into the briefing yet. So linear projection and reconstruction. So they have to get the message back, the data, and they have to reconstruct it. They have to understand all the angles and misconceptions and everything. Can you imagine how long that would have been? My goodness. XYZ, right? Well, 3D world, depth of field, left and right, up and down. That's it. That's quite simple. So who came to my friend's home when we did no experiment and just sat down and saw an entity talking to us? How come the entity looked like he was afraid? Why do I say he? Because it was a tall person in a cloak, and I could only see that person's shadow. So why? Well, get this. I would be a liar if I told you that I saw that entity in 3 dimensions. Why do you think everyone's saying that they see shadows and mists and smokes? Because our eyes, 400, 700 nanometers, cannot perceive other dimensions. So by the way, all those dimensions that are open all around us, not just around the planet, but the ones that are in your home and whizzing by our heads, maybe even going through us, right? We're all stepping on each other. That's exactly what we're doing. All different beings are stepping on each other. The aliens, as much as us, have problems seeing us. Yes, they would know that. They would have filters as we have filters ourselves, and we're not even totally advanced race. Don't forget, back engineering, retro engineering alien spacecraft. What the hell do you think they're doing? They have some. So that means they're going to melt that material or test or try to reinforce it or use that material if they can cut it, right? And rebuild our own spacecraft. And if not already, are going to be sending out objects out into interstellar space. There's a lot of worry about alien probes. The confirmation, guys, it's not Russia, it's not China. If they have football-sized fields, Chinese, their CCP are nuts. They would take over the world in a flash. So would Russia. And as a matter of fact, probably so would Canada, the US, or any country that would have that power. Israel, do we have to name them all? India recently going to the moon too. So if you look at this simple diagram for a kid, right? Well, actually, I'll make it like a kid because I'm not explaining it in a physics way. Quite simply, ladies and gentlemen, the box is here in our world on the left, and it jumps into another dimension, 1D, 2D, 3D, 6D, 8D, whatever, and can look different. So to give you an idea, if you're not quite understanding or why it would look different, well, quite simply, on the bottom here, underneath, some silly examples, and I'm going to put in, watch. Imagine this circle, this UFO craft. Imagine it's a real flying saucer in the bottom right, that regular circle, normal size. Imagine it going into a 2D or 1D world. The 2D on the left would look like it's bent, and it would not look like it's actually physical. Maybe it would not have any depth of field to it or whatnot. It was just a light going by. Cigar shaped. It could be an actual circle that's elongated where we could see a bar or rod, when in reality it's just a bent effing circle. The same way, those of you probably already thinking of it, the same way I'm showing structures on the moon. You can unbend the moon too to show structures if they're bent and stuff, 7 years later, duh. Well, do you notice in my images, when I show my images on the moon, you see the effects of libration? Quite simply, basic information. What's libration? Well, look it up. It's an optical illusion that is causing us to see objects that are high rising up off the surface of the moon lying down. All the objects Our perception is that all the objects have the same reflectivity as the surface itself. So differentiating the objects, how the hell can you do that without adjusting the exposure, aperture, like properly, long exposure, high dynamic ranges. I did so many tests, and it's not manipulation, regular color filters to be able to see, So I just thought it was pretty cool that sometimes, I mean, hey, you can feel smart now knowing that some of these objects coming in from other dimensions can be seen differently. So if you see something that's 39 inches like an eben, maybe that eben's 60 feet tall, but is being projected here in a smaller form. Isn't CERN projecting microwave beams into the ionosphere to control the temperatures? Yeah, definitely. And again, I won't linger on this here. Actually, this one here, hold on. Yeah, first of all, hold on. The briefing, real quickly, 2 seconds. A dark square in a clear circle was just revealed, having been kept secret. Nothing like mine as for size, because the one they're talking about is the size of a football field. But again, those of you that saw this video know that the one that came down to me, you can see real quick. We'll look at it for 20, 30 seconds. Look at the different shape in the center, going from circle-ish to octagonal-ish to square, literally. And you can see through the object. Well, there was just a mention at the briefing that there is a clear circle around it. Now, don't forget, wouldn't it be sneaky to say clear instead of transparent or see-through? Do you understand that sometimes it's not that they're lying, they just don't try very hard at bringing out certain words so people won't understand, or maybe hear certain things. But these objects, my friends, cannot be human unless it's a secret technology, and it would be a technology that we've never heard of. Here's a very interesting thing, right? So what is holding up our entire universe and the stars and even the nebulae and everything? It's gravity B. And it creates, all these stars create a dimple in the surface, right? They create a dimple, and you can see the little dimples there, because I'm visual. I try to understand. So it's not hard to understand. Bending space and time. If you were to flip this grid upside down, you would see bumps on the other side. And you just grab your finger and pull those bumps upwards and to as high as you want to. And you will bend as much space and time as you need to go to any area of any, not just in the universe, but probably any dimension. But for time travel, you have to base the power and the energy that you will be able to create on Earth can't be stronger than the Big Bang or how the universe was created. And that I found out very recently. Einstein's theory of relativity also, Einstein talked about how the cosmic currents are already written. It's tattooed, and everything. All that causes the poles on all the stars. Why do you think there's a north and south on everything, right? Poles on the stars and planets and everything has, a polarity. And the gravity that's holding everything up is gravity B, which they say is a far more vast, larger spectrum, but you need the gravity A. And what you need the gravity A for, and now you understand what I'm getting to, which is very important. We need gravity A to access, and amplify to cause the space-time distortion required for practical interstellar travel. So once you do that, you still don't have the comms or communication. So that's how far off we are. We still don't have the capability of not making us become mush inside of those objects to travel at incredible speeds. So obviously they won't be traveling at incredible speeds. They're just going to be jumping. Another term that is pretty hidden, but you can look it up. They're talking about dimensional leaping, leaping inside of the solar system, like Andrew Basiago had talked about very recently about him doing a secret space project, after his dad had been doing one, getting a chance to teleport 20, 30 minutes. I don't know how long it says, leaps into Mars and comes back to write about it and not get killed like a guy. So all these stories that are out there, like those people on the farm that were pretending that they were paranormal researchers and aliens and talking about the shapes and forms of aliens. Guys, aliens don't look like monsters. Reptilians don't look like lizards either. The difference is what we all mentioned here, basically, and this is what Stephen Greer is saying again. That's where this information is coming from. Some of them don't have ears or lobes, no noses, like holes, instead of much like the gray aliens and the things that we see in the movies are not necessarily real. In general, I would believe that. And there are some bigger aliens and entities, apparently. Again, apparently, this is information coming from Stephen Greer. Now, again, they're not shooting it out there which of these beings were created in labs. They're not talking about who's cloning what here on Earth. So it's obviously, I'm not stupid. I know there's a lot more to the story. And yes, they're not telling us probably as much as most of you will want them to say, but I'm telling you, they are definitely saying a lot. Let me think. Hey, Crazy Music Space Jam. Let me say hello to you all. Losing my voice here. Jules of Southern Oregon. Thank you very much for being here. Yes, I know, Darla. And of course, I was afraid it was going to happen because obviously, contributions. Nika, thank you so much. Sorry for making you guys wait. Elias, thank you. Did the first lunar orbiter photograph alien bases on the dark side of the moon in 1965? Anika, thank you very much. Elias, I'll be with you in a second. Anika, thank you so much. I love you very much. Did the first lunar orbiter photograph alien bases? Listen, there are some leaked supposed images of NASA which were taken away. At one point, it was even seen on someone's desk where they zoomed in on an image where you could see bases. Sputnik 1 took 2,000 to 3,000 images of the whole moon or the entire dark side of the moon, like lots of images. I would imagine that they would have gotten a lot of clear shots, but then again, what type of cameras did they have back in the days to be able to take images of the moon and to get it very clearly? A lot of people still don't understand how come they can't see the surface. It's simple. It's an aperture trick. It's a lighting game. It's just a trick, a mirror trick. Also, it's getting the surface gray. Now get this. Now you're going to believe me, or maybe partly believe me. When I show color, the color is showing us all the different elevations. You notice how when I show you blue color, you can see the elevation very minimally. When I show it to you in black and white, everything has the same level. Bruce, are the craters all the same depth? No. And I'm careful. I mean, hey, I admit it. Professionals are saying yes. No, they're not. I believe it's that film of atmosphere, natural or not, industrial or natural cloud, that is making everything have a film over it, like any city or town. You look far and wide, there's different levels of clouds in the atmosphere around Earth. Seriously, I'm shooting left and right here. I love physics. Very interesting. You are a good pedagogue. Thank you very much, Bruce. I really like your approach. Don't forget your thumb. Thank you very much, man. It's I call it the dumbass approach, the Nostradamus. That's my other channel, Nostradamus approach. Physics is something very complicated, but you don't have to know the mathematical equations. Just me telling you that changing a gravity frequency with gravity emitters that are under a UFO, a simple chemical reaction by an element that is a heavy element that is put into a hadron collider, literally a reactor, goes down a tube, held in a container, creates antimatter. Give or take, when he says Bob Lazar creates antimatter. In other words, antimatter is nothing, right? It's emptiness. It's a void. So yeah, spaceships create black holes. Another way of me explaining it, from my perception, is that UFOs teleport themselves and open their own black holes. Isn't that a simple understanding? Without having to get into the interpolation of everything and without getting into dimensionalities and vectors, trying to transform vectors going into lower dimensions. Holy crap. I am so not there. Do you realize every one of us here can be led into where the spacecrafts are in some building, and I bet you we wouldn't even find it. It's so non-aerodynamic. Most of the vehicles that are found, they don't create wakes in the water. They don't disturb the water. They don't create bubbles. They don't make noise. As a matter of fact, at the briefing, one of the whistleblowers said that these mamas were witnessed, and one of them was witnessed. Okay, get this, as big as a football field, in the wind of a Category 4 hurricane, right smack dab, not in the eye where the wind is. Stable, stationary, and not moving at all, while the wind and everything is like they don't feel the wind. So are they here in the physical world? They are. But are they here physically? That's the other understanding. And I don't feel bad not understanding everything. And I'm only going to understand increments and little bits. Thanks again, you guys, for the contributions. How friggin' exciting is that? Okay. Going into a lower dimension. So we're seeing different shapes and forms of these objects coming into our dimension, which is totally exciting. Yann Luca, comment ça va, mon frère? Janine. Thanks, you guys. Hey, Jose. Vienen para llevarse a Pedro Sanchez. Muchas gracias. If I'm not mistaken, if you're not threatening me, you're inviting me over to Bruce, dumbass Bruce. I know more UFO terms now in Spanish than any other term. Jose Maria, thank you very much. Rubio Abadia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Muchas gracias. Inviting me down. Hey, you guys, some of you guys, I'm telling you, if it wouldn't have been for the pandemic, I would have been going all over the place. I'd be in Yann Lucas's backyard camping. Je serais dans la cour à Yann Lucas, ça serait pas du pandémie. En train de faire du camping. Je fais le tour du monde pour rencontrer tout le monde. Yann Lucas, merci d'être ici, mon frère. Ramo, to be big news. Hey, thank you very much, man. I'm hoping that the research is going to get out. And like I said, you guys know I'm not a guy that has, my head's never going to get this big. I'm always going to be I am just a regular guy. Totally just a regular guy. Donald Trump and his administration is trying to get onto Joe Rogan podcast, Joe Rogan's Experience, and is having problems doing so. I'm not saying that he's the one blocking information from coming out, but these are things that boggle my mind. They absolutely blow my mind, that these things are occurring. I just wish people were able to. Thank you very much, Jules. I have to catch up on the comments. I saw your name there. I saw a couple of you that took the time to go over to my music channel. There's lots that was said. We're going to go over some of that now. 6 o'clock. We're doing good. I'm sure I said a couple of interesting points. Hopefully, maybe even some things that you guys didn't know about. I'm not the one, thinking of all these things. You guys and gals are as smart as me with the theories. People, humans are evolved enough, most of us, some of us, to be able to come up with these conclusions that are like, wow, like crazy mind-boggling. Why do you think the government's watching everyone? Why do you think some YouTube channels are just incredibly intelligent people that they blow the professionals away? They make the professionals look like morons, as a matter of fact. Good evening, Hauser in the house. Hope you are keeping well, my friend. Thank you very much. Christopher Rollins. Yes, sir. Lisa Eckerly is in the house. Thank you very much. For so many years, I follow you, and this is going to be big. Thanks for seeing it. And listen, don't be shy. For those of you that believe that nothing's going to come from it, don't be shy to share that with us. Jen Wick, 007 in the house. We already know more than they were ever going to tell us. I'm pretty sure that. We've never known this much, and it is not done at all. Let me see if I can attempt to turn on the light here. See if that will change anything. Maybe cause any problems there. It doesn't really matter. We'll start by, let's be sure I don't miss anything. So that should be okay. The light there, I love not a lot of room because my computer is so close to me because of the problem with StreamYard. I'm not done going down, my friends. I still will be going down. To make it interesting, I'll shoot 2 or 3 things and go on with you guys. 2 or 3 things, go on with you guys. So if you think not a lot came out, I wrote down every single point that was mentioned there. There's only a few things that are kept private. Like I said, the association where they don't want to mention David Grusch. In a private meeting, he's going to be talking about who is in control of these projects. So what do you think our hopefully trusting friend Tim Burchett? Now the light's flickering. A lamp I rarely use. Multiple sensors, guys. Okay, multiple sensors recording multiple phenomena. So it's not just light phenomena, it's phenomena that some of the whistleblowers are saying that is 20, 30 years further than anything science will ever even be close to. Did you know that? That you can't spit on that information, right? Lights are flickering. We're talking about energy. I can't believe it flickering. Mr. Muskowitz, he was on the committee asking some questions, right? Oh, come on, light. Are you serious? You're going to actually start bugging? Can you guys see it flickering? No? Let's see. My robot eye going to come out there? No? What the hell is that screen? So the American people, this was said at the briefing, guys. American people have the right to know about non-human spacecraft, alien bodies, obviously, and non-human alien intelligent artificial technology, the unknown phenomena that are being studied. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about, put them all in the same boat: UFOs, entities, ghosts, demons, angels, whatever you want to call these objects or beings. Entity and being is something I've always used, because they are beings, hopefully, or are they just sort of energy beings, right? Like maybe living organisms that have no brains, or maybe they're just brains flying around, or it's alien probes that we're seeing from them. It gets very, very complicated when you think of it. Unexplainable phenomena is a very big problem. And the problem is, you know what the threat to national security is that they cannot do anything about the lights that are here. They are screwed. There's no defense mechanism at all. You can't defend yourself against something you do not understand. There's no way of you defending yourself against something that is unexplainable, right? Laws of physics, everything goes against the laws of physics that they are talking about and showing there. Lorraine, thank you very much. Norma C. Norma, I want to say thank you for the contribution on my event, and for the beautiful letters you sent me, but the card, as always, and beautiful message. I love you very much for it. Norma, you rock. Hi, all. Is Bruce late tonight? No, well, Wednesdays is usually 5 o'clock all the time, Norma. But Fridays, don't forget, 1 o'clock on the Fridays, and a second stream at 8 o'clock on the Fridays. But thank you very much for being here, Norma C. And thanks for everything. He didn't come up in my feed. Good thing I was looking for him. I love you for it. Rod R is here. Thank you very much. Info to your YT. Awesome. Perfect. Hi, all. All is... I just read that. Sorry about that. Down to those last 3 pounds. Oh, yeah, I'm... Oh, Norma. That's true. Norma was also... The question keeps arising. Why do I care? Listen, I get it. You're sitting there saying, what the hell is it giving me except for sore stomachs, thoughts? I'll say, like in the Christmas Carol and cartoons, thoughts of candy cane and sugar plums. And anyways, it doesn't exist anymore. But either way, that's like the Christmas songs that they should be updating, Bells on bobtails ring. Now, what's a bobtail? Why do they have bells? What's a mistletoe? Nobody ever has any. Just the old aunt or the grandparents arrive with mistletoe. But that's always the horny aunt or uncle that wants to kiss all the nieces and nephews and stuff and just walking around with his beer and the mistletoe. How's it going, Kevin? Yeah, the weirdos, you can get the ideal. That's a little bad. Just the ideal was sort of bad, but Candy Yarn Crafts, thank you very much. Hi. Thanks for listening in, guys. Media don't even talk about the moon. That is right, Ramo. Thank you very much. Like me, like some of you do, it is inevitable that they're going to talk about it. I think I'll probably be streaming tomorrow too, you guys, and I'll make a video also because there's too much to talk about. I'm not done. We're just going to stick around. Lots of points to talk about. Actually, incredible points to talk about. So the multiple sensors is a problem. Yeah, aliens are jamming frequencies. They've stopped and jammed radars and devices that are inside of the jets. So we are screwed. They are totally screwed. It's a good sign. So it's not aliens are malevolent to citizens, but more or less malevolent to maybe the ones that are trying to destroy Earth or whatever they bombed outside of Earth. That's not even talked about either. Like Ramo knows, the moon. Whatever the hell is going on the moon, I'm getting more and more scared that there's no mention about it. It's absolutely crazy that there's no mention about the moon. Well, there's going to be, because Artemis 2, they're not going to be going. And maybe they're going to be admitting that they lost the technology. As a matter of fact, guys, you guys know they already admitted they lost the technology. You know that? They lost the technology to be able to go to the moon. Lots of you guys and gals are smarter than me. You've been saying it for years when I started this channel. Bruce, you can't leave the belts. I think it was Crow 777. He's always believed that you can't leave here, that there's a firmament. I'm not going to hide that too. It's been a long time that he had mentioned that, like way back when he showed the lunar waves, which I have a lunar wave here also that I was able to capture 3 or 4 times, a double lunar wave. So don't forget to look into that. Oops, I just clicked on the button. Give me a second here. Went to clean my keyboard on a button and I clicked the button. I hope you guys can still see me and hear me. So yeah, I think they're coming here too. It's been looking like thunderstorms the whole time, Darla. All afternoon. This morning there was a lot of smog. Also, fires are so bad in Canada. It's so sad. Over 500 fires. More than 300 burning out of control. A lot of Indian tribes and stuff and areas, and not just them. A whole bunch of mixed people that are having to be evacuated. Nova Scotia. Horrible flooding. It was destroyed. It was devastated with incredible flooding. Even sadly, a few deaths of some people that would have drowned in their vehicles, sadly, and that would have gone missing. So, be careful. Watch the events that are occurring. It's not that we're all going to die, but you got to don't be heroes. Don't run through, unless it's to save someone. Always be a hero, but don't try to be a hero or to be a smart ass by driving under a bridge that's like got 20 feet of water in it. Like, wake the hell up. You'll be stuck there. No one's going to go in and help you. That is for sure. So many years I follow you in this. It's going to be big. I read that again. Sorry, guys. It's going to be a freaking use. I'm going down here at 511. Oh, we're getting closer. Norma C in the house. See, she's back there. More 6 times I see the Norma C and Lisa and Rod R. Let me go down a bit more then. Whoops. Greetings, my friend Luke. Nathan. Hey, my friend. How's it going, my friend? Mr. White. Greetings, everyone. This is the sun. Yes, right on, my friend. My best friend, David White. I got David. I tell you, the minute your dad sent me that image of the seals, everything started to go haywire. We had the guide stones, Georgia guide stones exploding. We have the the transhumanist alien race that is changing anything. The diversity programs, diversity with everything. Do you know that I saw a Tim Horton commercial? Okay, coffee Tim Horton commercial, and the first thing that the person was saying, it was of course colored person, and talking about the diversity programs. Let people, diversity program. It's getting ridiculous, getting absolutely ridiculous. Radio, thank you so much for being here. I'm happy I got through it this far. My voice. I was up a good part of the night. I was a bad boy playing music. That's the only thing that gets my stress away. I was so stressed out, you guys. So they'll be talking in private about the murders, suicides, and a whole bunch of other stuff that obviously they're going to have to be very careful talking about. It's the beginning of the transparency where all the countries have yet to talk to each other. So we are like way in the beginning of everything, but the truth and what's going to come out in the States is going to be changing a lot of things. So obviously they're doing things ahead of time. Doing things ahead of time in the background that they're going to have to do and not tell the public, like the dismantling of three-letter associations, which I believe is happening. Who were the witnesses that were present? You have Lieutenant Graves, Ryan Graves, right? You have David Grusch, and you have the retired Navy commander, David Fravor. They did not show the swearing in of the three witnesses. That's something that I want you all to know, that I noticed. They said, do you swear and so help you, Dunedin, and whatever? Help you, God? I do. And I didn't see the swearing in. I just heard voices of an audio. So that was really odd. Why would they not show the swearing in of anything? Notice that everyone in and at that briefing have their badges off, even the ones that were walking around. As a while back, I saw a briefing, public UFO briefing, that said, hi, everyone. Welcome to the public UFO briefing. Please take off anything that will tell the public where you guys are from, basically is what they did. And they started lying and talking about bullshit and cover up. The Navy in 2019, by the way, declared they're not going to divulge any UFO sightings. They were attacking the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act bill and amendments. That's why the Declassification Act and new amendments were formed. Burchett's the real thing. And I'll say, like he says, dadgammit, the truth is going to come out. And I believe that it will, because there's going to have to be transparency. They admitted to us that they have alien bodies and that one's even alive. Okay. I don't think it's something that people are going to forget about. People were fascinated about Roswell. Wait and see. SAPs and CAPs was also mentioned. There's not one area that I did not write down and that I won't mention that was spoken about there. So we're talking about special and controlled access programs. So special access programs, the SAPs, and the controlled access programs. Now, some of these people, like TCA clearances and stuff, have certain clearances to get in to be able to see information and data on these projects, but most of them do not. And as for the secret retrieval programs and whatnot, David Grusch is right now, probably as we speak or soon, is going to, I'll say, like, what's her name used to say, circle back and give them the information about that. So be prepared. The government will be asked, okay, by reporters what that information was. This is all a buildup. It's all going to come out. The ones that are going to lie or not be interested, you'll know, like CNN and MSNBC and all the bullshitters are not going to ask any questions, not the questions that we want to hear. Or sometimes CNN is as hypocritical enough to come up with all of a sudden something incredible. You ever notice that, how they do that? Wow, they actually look like they believe in the UFO. And then they finish it off with Bozo Cuomo when he was there, which is, I wonder why he loses his job. I wonder why Don Lemon loses his job. You know, Not quite for the same reason why Tucker Carlson left Fox, right? Fox went woke. Basically, that's what's happening. Fox is just basically didn't go woke, has always been woke. Tucker Carlson, he said in his own words, he's always been allowed to say what he thought of, but not everyone at Fox was agreeing with him. When I heard Tucker Carlson talking on Fox, I assumed that Fox would agree with what he was saying, but apparently not. Alien Intel is taking control of Earth's sensors. Do you understand that? So that means, WEF and everything they're using themselves, and all the weather manipulation machines and stuff like that. Well, yeah, that's right. The CERN went down because they said there was a little accident there, a mistake. Yeah, I wonder why. They're not going to tell us it was an alien that turned them off. They're controlling sensors that control satellites. And what would you think of us not even being able to shoot most of them because they're not here? There is a takedown crash video that was talked about at the briefing that Tim Burchett, Representative Congressman Tim Burchett, wants people to see the video. It's an incredible video. And there's even the Tic Tac video, by the way. There's a couple of minutes where there was an actual UFO fleet of Tic Tac UFOs. So when I showed the fleet in my research on the moon, it was a big problem. It was definitely a big problem. Somebody went into my community and said, Bruce, I can't share that picture of the base. I'd love to share it, but unfortunately, there's no link to share it. I post it once every 3 videos. It's been 7 years. Share my videos with a link, and or share in your community the base that I posted. Write whatever you want. You can write you're allowed writing. It's even fake. I mean, you could share anything that I post, right? Even the trolls can do it, and write that that's fake. It's not going to change that it's my post. And there are buildings on the moon, and the connections and 90-degree angles. As a matter of fact, it was too perfect at the beginning that a lot of people said that Bruce came out with the perfect scenario, perfect explanation, and which at the beginning they said it was a dumb explanation because I'm just saying I'm not using any manipulative programs, just being honest, right? And like I said, when I said that I saw and still do see spirits or entities, they're often shadows. They're not 3D physical, right? And that's a scary thing. Maybe if somebody sees an entity 3D, physically 3D, it could be a holographic projection, which projecting into lower dimensions through quasi-projection has a lot to do with hologram and holographic images and projections and platforms and and all that. That's something else that's coming up, and that's why I get some very intelligent people to come here and say, do you believe in the holographic projection? And well, I believe that they could hide parts of the surface on the moon with it. Of course, I believe that's totally credible. Okay. Improved pilot reporting. They have no system to report, and people getting threats. That is another thing. Death threats. I mean, David Grusch, incredible. Everything done to be able to throw off his retirement and access to classified projects. And of course, he's retired now. So Luis Elizondo, where some of you don't believe him, whether you believe him or not, they started off with ATIP, AATIP, which apparently is defunct. It's closed. Then Unidentified Aerial Task Force, the Black Vault, Griswold. I'm thinking of Chevy Chase. Greenwald says, not Chevy Chase, but Greenwald and the Black Vault says there's, guys, you have to go look at the leaks that are coming out. Everything that they're saying, everything the CIA, the Pentagon is doing to hide, what all the presidents knew about UFOs and had to shut up and hide. Also, I posted on the member side what President Ronald Reagan said. Well, and he said that the problem is the government. That is the problem, right? The people are capable themselves, come up to a solution to support themselves and to evolve and to, even develop technology. We can all do that ourselves. Then you go to the first black president, so he says, and Obama, and he says, well, people cannot. Yeah, I was so mad when I heard him say that. Take care of themselves. They need to have a government, a judgment system over top of them to regulate them, because they cannot fix any problems that they will have uniquely through themselves. So the government, not the government, Obama said that. For me, that was the most racist thing anyone could say, except for when Biden talked about putting black people back in chains. Did any of you ever hear Biden saying that? Well, be careful with what I say, but he said it. People listen to say Grusch is real. Static questioned that telling us history is a lie is to demoralize us, create loosh. You're absolutely right about that, Normacy. There's a lot of misinformation, there's misinterpretation of the things that are going on that people understand or not understand. Big green aliens with big giant heads. No, notice that the guy Angel, right, in Los Angeles, which we've never heard of since. Apparently they were warded off from town, is from what I'm hearing. Could be rumors online. He talked about a large alien. He didn't necessarily tell anything about the size, but I'm going to be careful what I say, because they didn't show us the whole video of what he also recorded, by the way, because there is a recording of that too. It's supposed to be spoken about at a UFO hearing. Somebody was telling me this week, yeah, you watch, don't talk about much, nothing burger. If I hear that again, it makes me laugh so much, because this briefing was filled with incredible information that we've never heard before. One witness said, there's nothing we can do. That was Praver. Says absolutely nothing we can do about the objects going down into the bloody oceans and then whizzing up to 80,000 feet over top and then coming back down, registered on the radar, never making any movement in the water, stationary and stable inside hurricane category 4 winds. So guess what? The problem is that not is maybe impossible. We all know that is physically impossible, but there's not only the physical world where your shadow has other dimensions that you can't see. But have you ever perceived your shadow doing something a little odd? I'm telling you. If you ever, and I'm not talking about smoking a cigarette. I'm talking about, have you noticed the differences when you look at a shadow? Most of you will say, well, it's just a shadow. It's always the same, and it's always there when the sun's there. Well, it's not the same. Depending on what the height the sun is, be more elongated or not elongated. When they landed on the moon and went down the stairs, supposedly they didn't. When they went down the stairs, they were stepping into a dark, pitch black surface, because they were on the angle where the opening and the stairs were. 3-foot drop, by the way. Okay, would you jump 3 feet onto a moon surface without knowing if it's solid or not? Everyone goes, it's plasma, and they land that mama there perfectly straight. But why was he in the shadow, and how come he was illuminated? Because studio light, or for sure, or another light source was on that person in another area, and not the area to where the moon was or wherever the light was, trying to replicate that shadow. And when you analyze these things, you see a lot of things. I analyzed the shadows, always talking about spirituality with my friends, and it's obviously lost, and probably most of you haven't heard my spiritual encounter with those the shadow people, but it is something pretty seriously, something that cannot be changed. It's like crying over spilt milk, and I'll say it again, it's like putting out a forest fire, surrounded by a forest fire with a chocolate extinguisher on a day where it's 75 degrees Celsius outside. It can't be done. It just can't be done. So it's funny, there's a lot of technology in drone. Oh, well, look at that. So yes, I mean, you must have thought of it like me. They're going to throw drones into black holes, but then I found out the black holes were actually the most densest objects out there, like neutron stars. There's no hole there. Black hole, it's an expression, and it's actually very visible, but it's not the black hole that's visible, but the dimple in space and time, like I showed you in that short video at the beginning, where it's creating friction in the fabrics of space and time. It's a simple explanation, and it's totally understandable. What are the walls made of? Easy. Cosmic radiation and magnetism. The whole universe is made up of that. So look at it the way you want. The universe must be traveling really fast because there's a lot of friction going on for everything to be still standing up. But then again, we are apparently in a dimension of time, part time and part dimension, and the 2D bouncing from 1D to 3D to 4D. They must be sending drones into different dimensions, obviously, to try it. So they declared, I'm going to say it, they do want transparency. So they say, UFOs being stable in category 4 weather, that's crazy. Alien tech is beyond our scientific capabilities. They confirm that. So look at it the way you want. You want to say they're not aliens? Well, there's no human on Earth that has that capability. And you know what? They might have the knowledge, but I'm going to say it again. They don't have the physical capability of doing that. Elon Musk, his heavy rocket, Falcon rocket, or whatever the one is, Starship, that he wants to send up. Did you see that freaking thing go up and blow up, by the way? That was a joke. That was a real joke. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking it was hollowed out. There was nothing in it, and they put a firecracker at the end with 40 drones inside. It's just basically a shed they built. I'm starting to catch on to some of the shit that's going on, I think. And that dark sky that's around Earth, it ain't gonna fool me anymore. I don't have a need to want to solve everything. It's funny. I just know everything's a lie. That's enough for me. Everything that was told to us is partly a lie, right? Including the Bible. In my theory, because again, we're all allowed our opinions. I believe, in much respect to all religious people, a lot of smart religious people know it too. There's a possibility that things that could have been omitted in the Bible. Yep, dup. Thank you very much. Classic, admitting half truths. They have to. Dr. Greer is making rounds again and prepping the public for a fake invasion. Thank you very much. I respect that. Like I said, you're not alone. A lot of people think it could be a fake invasion. You could be right on top of it. I ain't going to rule it out either. But again, I hope you guys and gals understand that I'm quite simply giving the news of what's going on. Anyone can have an opinion on Linda Moulton Howe. I have my opinions. Jeremy Corbell, Linda Moulton Howe, Stanley Kubrick, and a partridge in a pear tree. All movie stars, all making films, all hiding truth. Anyways, I could make up a long song about that. Who knows? Where's the interview with the alien? Where's this? Where's that? Am I going to get mad at them? No. Maybe they do want truth to come out. It's just that, actually, I'm pretty good at filmmaking too. So I could get mad and tell you guys, don't listen to them, all the ones that declare being cinematographers because they're just bullshitting movies. I'm going to be very careful because I could make amazing movies on actually, silly little clips like on the last member video, putting up a little Dyson sphere in the sky, a little pretend surface with my real footage outside. How hard could it be? The fake moon landings, I did one actually in 2017, 2018, recreated in front of a lamp with smoke. Okay. It was actually cigarette smoke, lots of it. And a disc, my lamp that looks like a UFO, very refractive, getting blinding light in the back of the room that's actually going left to right on a skateboard. I was pulling it with the cord to make it look like it's a UFO going by the sun. And you know what? It doesn't only look real, it almost gave me tears because it looks absolutely real. So were they able to recreate a fake moon landing? Hell yes. Back in the days, yes. There's certain things they hadn't thought of. There's certain things now, like, you got to go listen to the interview, what they said. Been a while, Luke. Thank you very much, brother. Doing good, man. I'm telling you, I'm excited by what they are talking about Razor's Edge, Gaudy Line, thank you very much. Nose is itching me. No, I did not. I did not, Anika. I'll have to look that up now for sure. Not going to scratch my back with a pen without writing all over myself. I remember one day in school, I was scratching my leg with the pen as I was listening to the teacher. Actually, I was never listening. It was sort of like when I was at school, it was like Charlie Brown talking to his teacher or listening to the teacher in class. You know, and it wasn't because I was dumb. It's because the teachers were not very smart, I think. That's my excuse, the final answer. Weird ways of explaining boring crap. Ah, there we go. Sinead died, eh? Well, probably not because of the V, but I wonder. That's too bad. I wonder how. Hopefully it's natural causes. She was not one of the elites. She was one of the good ones, apparently. You saw when she shaved her head and destroyed documents and stuff like that in front of an award ceremony. Hey, thank you very much, Robert. Thanks for being here. Europa, The Last Battle, a must-watch documentary. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. I've heard people say that they exist. Is that the reptilians don't look like lizards. That's the thing. Apparently, they have the eyes that, can slit or slant sideways, apparently, if it's true or not. But people are saying, Ramo, they exist. I have no reason to doubt which exists and which don't. If there's 60, 70 plus ones documented, that means it's an endless number. And for those who declare knowing about the Bible, well, it says in the Bible that God created everything over and below the firmament and everything in this universe. And God, heaven is God surrounded by court, right, of beings and spiritual beings, very eccentric spiritual beings. When you read about them, what they look like, one of God's buddies has no head or face. Yeah, did you know that? Yep. And all his buddy has is two wings and connected to eyeballs. Yeah, imagine that one at a poker game. Am I making fun of God, you said? No, I'm saying exactly the truth as to what's written in the Bible, what people are saying God is. I don't like interpreting. I have nothing against people that do. My brother gives us Christian perspective. Right on. Absolutely good on you. Which Jason and I are able to interact and debate, which we disagree on. I can't say a lot on some things, and there's a lot that we are totally agreeing on. The manipulation of the DNA, the changing of the humans over a long period of time, the possibilities of what could happen. Some possibilities are there. I don't discredit what people think. I have my own opinions. I know what I saw. A lot of you saw what you people saw yourselves. Susan Smith Davis, thank you very much for being a member. Forgive me for answering an hour and a half later. Probably a lot of you are not even here. Yes, absolutely. Rest in peace. I want it all and I want it now. Hey, graphics nut, you bet. Right on, my friend. Absolutely. Declassify it all. We know most of it anyway. You're right. Right, you are. Congress is clueless and the data belongs to the people. Yes. And when I saw Cortez, AOC, come out and ask a question, I almost turned it off. Just she's trying to get information on what? I mean, this is a total goon puppet. She's a lying skank who lied about her being attacked by thugs, which she wasn't even at the Capitol at that moment. Just lying thugs that they are. I'll hold back. Greetings, Earthlings, Star Hunter. Oh yes, I'll talk about that in a second. Give me a second, glass of water. Yeah. Thanks for being here, everyone. Oh boy, hot in the house. The lightheadedness. The last time I had that was when I first fasted, and it was the first week because it was very hot when I started fasting. Just got a little lightheaded there. And anyways, I'm not too worried about it. You just see that guy bashes into the microphone. Just the top of my head or hat's there, and you hear me going, that would be so funny. Maybe that would get me views. So the story is that we don't get subscribers here. It's been a while. We've gotten some over the years. We're at 97,500 just now. But you'll see if I'm a liar or not. And again, I like doing this because if the trolls want to make me sound like a liar, that means I will keep my subs. It will be back down to 4 and to 3 as we advance to head to Christmas. So this summer, right at the end of actually spring, I was going to be right now this week, I was going to be arriving at 100,000. So now they set us back. I will be at 110 or 120,000 in 6 to 7 years is what Social Blade says. So for now, they were able to hold back the subscribers. But the beautiful thing is you guys can come here. And if you subscribe and the number doesn't show, I would suggest to please subscribe anyways, because somewhere the numbers have to be showing, exactly. Oh, yes, Oliver. Not much. We were just talking about, quasi-projections, 3D objects coming into the 2D object world and the changing of the shapes and forms, optical illusions. My throat is horrendous. Thank you, lover of the Lord. You have a strange way of showing it, brother, that you love the chat. It's not fair to give $5, man, if you think that I'm a piece of shit, honestly, because that's what he's been saying, everyone. So, with all due respect, man, I'm doing this to prevent you from having to give me a couple of bucks so that you can make a video and saying, I gave him my money, my hard-earned money. When you came here with the story also, unfortunately, about your air conditioning and the problem with your floor and stuff like that, sort of to make me look bad, because the people that are bashing me, man, you bash me so bad on Patreon. I'm really sorry that you feel that way, man, because, you sort of labeled me. But anyways, I have much respect for everyone. But of course, money doesn't grow on trees. And I definitely need some, since I'm doing this full time and I'm getting harassed and threatened and blocked. But if money doesn't come from the heart, it does hurt me when I receive it. And I'm bad at explaining it. Maybe I'm upset the fact that you're going to contribute to the channel because you were preparing for me to talk bad about you, but I'm not going to stop. And I posted in the community about you to warn everybody to be very careful about you. I'm going to warn you to my brother also. It just so happens I double checked and you did pop up on the stream. So I get your intentions. Everyone will know when you start emailing people about Christians. So apparently, guys, I'm bashing Christianity. But again, that's your perspective. I appreciate the way you guys give your opinions. But, becoming a patron for $3 to be able to fill my page of smut, in reality, I'm okay with that because it costs $3 for you to tell me I'm a piece of shit. And, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. And your threats that you were going to pull out subscribing, well, I'm going to admit it now too. And I suggest maybe, with all due respect, stick around the channel, but maybe you don't have to be a member. Because if you don't agree with me, brother, you shouldn't, you shouldn't be supporting the channel, because I think it's hypocritical to pretend that you are supporting the channel. And I do appreciate the contributions that you gave me. Money does not grow on trees. The Navy pilots are credible. Lisa Eckerly, when I put your Ren show, obviously, I hope you've given it a try since. And no, don't block anyone unless you need to. So I went on your channel, be double checking PK Imaging. Did you know that? I don't know how the hell you were able to know them. That's an incredible coincidence. But the video that you're sharing on your channel is actually dissing me. You know, a couple videos that he disses me too. PK Imaging was the first group of trolls that came here way back when John Walson was attacking. That's when I had connected with John Lear. So heads up, because you give me a heads up all the time. PK Imaging is a channel smasher and goes around from channel to channel, smashing channels like, you know, me. And his last video was pretty funny because I told him that he wouldn't go up in subs, and he didn't. He stayed at 39,000. But PK Imaging puts up a video, Bruce sees all, and then scratches it out, and then puts up Paul sees all. So these are the mall people. Basically, it's a version of I call them the astronomical version of the Smothers Brothers. Basically, I like that one. A twist for my 50s and 60s and 70s people that will understand what I'm talking about. And of course, the young ones, no, not like me. I'm going to be 50, guys. 48, the big 48. Get ready for their fake. Oh my God, they are coming to get us a fake alien invasion. It could be. I respect your opinion. So see, that's good to know. Some of us feel that it's a fake alien invasion, and I feel that it's, in theory, just one of my theories, but the one that's most plausible to me. There's aliens are going to invade Earth to stop the nuclear production. They're going to blow up any and every establishment. They're going to do it in a way where things are going to defy laws of physics. And then we're going to be back to a biblical time list of events that are going to occur, possibly some beings that will be revealed or maybe even seen. Things will happen in the sky. I'm not ruling out that there'll be an alien invasion. So what is it going to give you? What is it going to give them? Everyone in the world talks about an alien invasion. So they're going to put objects in the sky, and they're going to pretend they invade, because a hologram doesn't break anything for real. Now, does it? Unless they're going to bust down the system, say it was aliens. So what is that going to give them? If system is going to be down, whether they want to say it's from aliens, it would just be because they want to hide that they took the system down. Aliens are not going to invade Earth. If aliens invade Earth, the other species are going to kick their asses. All the planets are in synchronicity, in harmony with all aliens throughout the solar system and beyond, whatever's on the outside of this realm. There is a galactic federation. It's not the one that's here on Earth. There's definitely people that are protecting Earth, and we are the caretakers of Earth. We're here possibly with other beings that we cannot perceive or see, that they either have or not have the knowledge of that. So, but that's how it is. So just be careful, anyone and everyone, if people are maybe making stories, or if you're bothered by someone in the community that is causing problems, I suggest do not, my mods know it, don't interact with people that continually want your emails, because I'm telling you, it's bad news. They don't want to do good things. The group of people that was attacking my channel, some of them are just like what they did to the Hells Angels, have been around for 6-7 years, and even some of them my best friends. I've seen what some people have been doing. I see in the backgrounds all the time, because now I have a lot of eyes around me that people are coming to me and telling me, Bruce, be careful for so and so. And I go see myself, and you have to be careful with what people are saying. On my friend's channel, by the way, somebody is fraudulently emailing people to harass them. And be on the lookout for that. If you get a harassing email from me, well, it's not me. Let me know, and click on the icons. Mine has a black filled dark circle, like my eyes, around my name. Okay. So when you're looking on the channel here, when I write, like I'm going to write right now, hello, this is something some are going to say that's stupid, because most know it, but I didn't until I was trolled. When I write hello, watch it not be what I say, but either way, I'm try to scroll down. Thanks, Norma C. So you can see down on the bottom, my name should have a black circle around it. Where am I? Anika, thanks again, eh? Yeah, there's definitely facilities. I mean, the one I showed is definitely there. And the worst of it, imagine me trying to, somebody trying to hide the sinus irritum that I showed. I showed the whole left half of sinus irritum. The mountains are not mountains. It's buildings with some shit over top of it. The same thing as the Apennine Mountains. You look at the Apennine Mountains, it consists of 12 pieces, all separated side by side. I saw like Clinton there. Side by side. It's not even a real mountain. That's what I believe. That's what I can see, visually see. Right on, Robert. Mitch. It was Orbiter 2, 1965. That's right. Darla, thank you very much for the encouragement. I need the encouragement, you guys. Day 3 fasting tonight. I'm doing an evil fast. I'm going to go 8-9 days. I'll be, what are we today? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday. I'm not going to eat. And I'll go on Monday with my brother on his channel, by the way, because we talk about fasting. We got a bunch of people here. Norma, Pat Kassar. We have Fatty McButterpants. I'm going to do my romper room here. A whole bunch of people that started fasting. Christy Lindsay, who lost, lost quite a bit of pounds. I don't want to say it in case she has not mentioning it, but yeah, listen, she lost over 10 pounds. So that's sort of exciting. I'm gonna shoot it out there, and she's admitting that she feels great too. That's awesome. I'm proud of her. Yes, they do, Ramo. Ships with artificial gravity, absolutely do. David Grusch said he was threatened. Okay, many attempts to tarnish his name. Has anyone been murdered? He was asked, and he can't answer that, but he's going to answer it in private, so the government will know the answer to that question. So basically, guys, Russia and China, people are saying they do not have the capability, and I agree with that. They do not have the capability. As for an alien invasion, I'm skeptical about it. Not even in a way. I mean, you guys will not understand me. I just don't give a shit about it. I don't think it's going to happen or even will change anything. I think it's a silly thing to do, an alien invasion, and it's not David Grusch that's doing the alien invasion. It would be the first person that talked about the moon. Who do you think that was? Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin themselves. That was the fake cover-up story. There's no invasion. That was the story. Lights are invading Earth, and it is happening now. Some of them are harming humans. And what are those humans doing? They're military people guarding the bases. Be prepared to see every base around the world, or especially in the States, be blown up, and that there's not going to be any more harassment for us, the people. I'm all for it. I can't freaking wait to see it. Camp smoke go up, and that's how it is. If the military doesn't stand up for us, and the police officers and all that, and the military guards and secret associations and militias, if they don't want to take back Earth, aliens are going to come here. I'm not alone. I've been praying for aliens to come since the beginning of the pandemic, come to destroy the ones like things like CERN and everything. It's going to happen. I promise you all that it's going to happen. I don't have to have any lightning behind me or any muahahaha's. They're fucked. There's nothing they're going to be able to do. The government just lost control of national security. That means no military paid people are any use anymore. Goodbye. Useless. Totally useless. You want to send up satellites, Elon Musk? They're not going to work. As a matter of fact, they don't work, do they, your satellites? No, none of the satellites work, do they? They scramble stuff. Oh, it's because of the sun radiation. No, it's not because of the sun radiation. That's another thing that's going to happen. EMP attack? No. Just a little bit of microwaving. Just to jumble up all the communications. They need quantum communication. That's what they're doing with the weather manipulation in Antarctica, South Base, Southern Pole. That's where they have the weapon. That's where they're also using that, or could use that for interstellar space and comms and communication, for quantum communication. You need to have the gravity around the spaceship. You need to have the quantum communication. So everyone and everything is set up for these secret shadow governments. NASA, DARPA, the three-letter associations, and other defense associations in other countries, and task force and groups and under the table groups, and all the bullshit. That's how it is. It's all being done under our noses too. Project Bluebeam, they're going to need a major distraction for what's coming. Thanks, Chris, for sharing that. Right on, man. Robert says, Bruce, in the 60s and 70s, most were cubes. Yeah, they're talking about those cubes. That's the thing. And it's, again, incomprehensible. So like I showed the dark square inside of what I caught, there's some credibility there. Most of you don't know that was presented by the Pentagon too, that had their name up there, the Space Force, Jan Vedne, at Garpan Ufology. I even had a radio interview on the FM radio, several, to talk about my opinions on UFOs. I had plenty of chances to get known by people on the outside, and I didn't. And that scared the fuck out of my friends. Let's call them the people that I interacted with, a very small, limited group of people I interact with, which I don't have here, which, just to say, I give the phone numbers because I don't trust any one of them. I'm telling you, they're all out to get me. They're all out to get you guys. That's how it is. They're the big or with NASA and everything. They're all working together for these secret shadow governments and associations. They're all being paid to shut up. There's no mystery. I believe that 100%. So there's supposedly a joint task force, which, by the way, FOIA requests caused information to come out for that the Pentagon, CIA denied. No one can deny. Brutal attacks on whistleblowers. Clearance sabotage. That's going on. Don't forget there. The saying people aren't talking. Every single pilot wants to talk about what's going on. Every single one of them. Lots of them want to be hidden. And Tim Burchett will present them hidden. There's not a problem. Marco Rubio also talked. He's on the Intel committee. He also talked about having no problems with hiding the identities of the people that will come out. So, because they're losing their retirements, they're losing everything. You got to admit it's obviously true, right? They're not the skanks hiding all the stuff. It's the higher ups that are hiding stuff. But don't forget, those 3 whistleblowers are leading agents, are the people in charge of these secret programs and stuff working for the government. So you can imagine how high they are and how the governments did not want these people to come out. Or it could be a fake alien invasion. I understand that. But am I going to harp on it? No. A lot of people are for sure it's an alien invasion. It's going to be an alien invasion. I don't think it will be. In 2003, there's another thing. The Tic Tac was hidden for 15 bloody years. They hid the Tic Tac information. I hope I'm not talking too loud. Probably am. They hid the Tic Tac information for 15 years from coming out. The guy did not get any attention when he talked about the Tic Tac. Now, these objects are moving against the wind. There's nothing that's stopping them. They don't have the effects of the wind or anything. When they go in and out of the water, there's no differences. They can go from space to air to sea. Space, air, sea, land, wherever you want them to go, they can go. Do you think they have a cloaking system? Do you think someone that's traveling other dimensions has a cloaking system? Yes. Walk in a field for the rest of your life, and for sure, one day you're going to walk in and bash your teeth into some object there that you can't see. That's how I feel. As a matter of fact, they can probably even literally dematerialize themselves and make themselves invisible. most likely. So a red cube, right? The circle around it. So a witness by Boeing contractors at the Vandenberg launch military facility. What the hell were they doing there? Ocasio, whatever the hell, Alexandria. She wanted to have the information of who those contractors were. Listen, we see Raytheon contractors working that even went, he became a whistleblower. Stephen Greer interviewed him at the southern base where in Antarctica, they are causing weather manipulation, caused 2 earthquakes by mistake for New Zealand when they first started the weather machine up. So these things are going on in the background. There's no two ways about it. So they came down, the cubes came down at the launch facility. They started buzzing around the security guards, literally like in a threatening, malevolent way. Why do you think they're doing that? Not that aliens are bad. If they are a legitimate race, what do you think? It's just an alien coming here on the weekend with his kids in the spacecraft? It's military people. It's people in charge of other freaking planets in other dimensions, or right here in our solar system. Maybe there aren't no dimensions. That's another thing that I'm open-minded about. Flat Earth, schmat Earth. I don't give a crap about whether it's flat or not. We're on it. So that UFO came from over the ocean to that base, buzzed there for 45 seconds to a minute at the height of where jets were coming back at the Elgin base. Meanwhile, at Elgin base, right at the entry point for the jets, their work entry point at Elgin Air Force Base, where that football-sized object was hovering there to intimidate the jets. Near miss, 50 feet away, near miss from a football field-sized spacecraft. They have some in their own possession. Where do you think they're holding them? No? Do you think they're holding anything on the moon? Pretty sure. UFOs stay over the base for a minute and took off like a bat out of hell and bent space and time. Imagine doing so. Security guys, yep, we talked about that. Non-aerodynamic shapes traveling at Mach speeds, Mach 2 if I'm not mistaken. Humans cannot endure those speeds. Another whistleblower, that's what he was saying. No windows, seams, or rivets seen on the Tic Tacs. There's another thing. Unsanctioned programs are going on. And that's like one of them, the retrieval program with alien bodies. Don't forget, they admitted there's other whistleblowers that the Ross Coulthart from News Nation exclusive interviewed. That's all going to come out. There's going to be other hearings. Let me guess. It'll be August, mid-August, maybe beginning of August, hopefully, but wishful thinking, probably the end of August, maybe even September, and then maybe another one in December and October. And how many will there be? Well, think of it. We're only hearing the U.S. talk, guys. Can you imagine when Brazil and all the other countries talk about it? The UK, British, they're absolutely doing secret research on UFO and extraterrestrial technology. So they haven't spoken yet, or they have, and people in that area have heard them talking. But all compressed ether matter creates a negative pressure zone in compressed ether space. This creates a flow of uncompressed ether gravity. Sounds simple, eh? When you look at it that way, and it really is. And we're there. That's what they're doing. But they're making little, spacecrafts and doing certain tests and sending things out without us knowing. Vicky, thank you for being here. Karen Fitzpatrick is here. Boban is here. Pat Kassar in the house. My fasting friends. Mitch, I think I found the same picture that Carrie Wolf looked at in Langley. Right on. Needs to happen, Bruce, says Robert Anderson. We need the truth. How long have they been mining on the moon? And they're mining. They're mining on the moon. Maybe even coming soon. I'm pretty sure. Get this. How did they make a spacecraft with the moon? By getting the interior for thousands of years. Where did they put everything they pulled out? On the top, where they put all their connections to be able to control the planet's direction by adjusting and changing its gravity, by having a core in the moon. If they're hiding the core in the moon and say that it doesn't exist, which, by the way, they admitted it a couple of months ago, it has a core just very similar to Earth. There could be a reactor inside of it, and that is what is keeping the moon in synchronous rotation with us. Because of the tides, my friggin' ass. Do you know that this moon is the only moon in the whole entire solar system that is doing what it's doing right now? Have you ever looked up, see what other moons are doing? It's not doing anything of what this natural satellite. Imagine them calling it a natural satellite of all things. If it's a spaceship, they can get out the interior. And by the way, the exterior of the moon has a harder shell than the inside, and the inside of the moon is younger than the outside shell. Sorry, the opposite. It's like something impossible, which is very odd. They say now there's regolith and no olivine. I remember all the minerals that they were saying. Turns out they were wrong. No olivine on the moon. Everyone's telling me, Bruce, the green you're looking at is olivine. There would be a hell of a lot of olivine. Imagine a mountain the size of North America, like olivine. What the hell are you talking about? Have you ever looked up where olivine forms and why it forms? Those are things that I hadn't done at the beginning, because you can't do everything. And you start researching and saying, oh my God, that can't happen in microgravity. Fire can't react that way in microgravity. And I'm getting things in the moon's atmosphere that's proving that there's a bloody combustion process going on the moon, which is based on reality and physics, is absolutely impossible. There is no combustion process on the moon. That's why we see pointy fire here on Earth as it's rising and interacting with the oxygen, and heat is rising. But they say not in the moon. Yeah, my ass. In microgravity, a flame would be a low burning blue flame, and not even necessarily a flame that would turn out, but would probably last a lot longer. But just a blue, slow burning flame, very hot flame, but difference in microgravity, right? So when I'm seeing explosions on the moon, you guys want to know what the biggest secret is that could still get me killed? Is that I'm the only one showing UFOs on the moon that have a propulsion system like humans on Earth and heat signatures. Everyone's talking about UFOs not having heat signatures. Who the living hell is on the moon with puffs of smoke coming out the back of them like they have mufflers, floating in the atmosphere, descending to the surface of the moon? And then you say, the astronauts are definitely liars. I can confirm you that much. Does everybody have access to the moon? Or no, probably not. But has any astronaut declared having gone to the moon? Yes, but they lied. Why? I'll never be able to know. I think by looking at the face of Buzz and Neil Armstrong, which Neil backwards is Neil Armstrong. Neil A, his name backwards is alien. What the hell kind of a type of joke was that? Yeah, Neil A backwards is alien. On top of it, the A's capital. Hilarious. Alien. So, anyways. Why do those patterns exist? There are people on the moon. They're able to get there. And now I'm going to tell you something else. Imagine that the moon is in another dimension. Quite simply. All the planets in their own bubbles and dimensions where you couldn't even reach them. You'd probably just go through them. Probably all different states of, physical matter or whatnot. Well, no, I do not want to end the broadcast. Why did that happen? Enjoying your chat, he says. Disagrees with everything I said, but in front of my community, I like you, Bruce. Andy, thank you for being here. Well, telephone now. Hang on, guys. Just some trolls. Sorry about that. Jules, yeah. It was life changing. The shadow was when it perceived us, it saw us. The shadow became its own person. It wasn't able to move all around the room. It was in a box, and the box was a very clear doorway on the wall. Had a flat surface in front of the entity, and when it looked at us, whether you believe me or not, that's what I did. I saw that it was afraid of me and everyone, and I advanced onto the wall to touch it, literally to go. That was so fucking stupid, but I did. Very young too, and I went to touch it, and when I went to touch it, it bloody moved, and then we didn't want it to go in the dark because we wanted to know where it was. Oh my God, guys! So we're running after this shadow with the candle until Eric kicked the bloody candle. I've said this story maybe 6 or 7 times now on the stream. Go back and compare everything I said in each of the stories, and you'll always see it's the same bloody story. Maybe I'll emphasize more on one, or I'll mention more of the detail of what happened, but that was not in the physical world. I could see the shadow, and the shadow was seen because of the candle light. It has to do with magic. It has to do with witchcraft, I believe. This like something that we did. There were 3 of us. We each lit a candle because like we each bought a candle. It's like stupid there. It had nothing to do with incantations, but there was something about what we did. The white and red candles. I wrote it down in a diary somewhere, exactly what the color of the candles were. It was also an evening where it was stormy. There was no electricity in the apartment because my friend was moving. So he closed it 3 days before he moved out, so nobody would use his electricity, which was smart. And we moved out everything. At night, when we got to the end of the evening, went and got a small case of beer, had a couple of beers, and said, well, let's crash here because I'm not going to cross town or whatnot. And then tomorrow we'll go to his new apartment and help him fill in the last few things that he had to do. And I saw that entity that was horrified, had a bloody knife in its hand. Jules, I'm telling you, this entity was showing me objects in its own friggin' world. But I'm telling you, it was like Earth. Because when I see an entity, when I saw that entity, I never expected to ever see an entity wearing clothing. What the hell? It's like, what, an entity is going to come to my house with a tie and a hat and a lunch pail, or on a bicycle or something? What the hell is that about? I mentioned this at one point, something very important. People talk about paranormal activity and ghosts are seen wearing olden day clothing. I'm not saying it's not true, but but what I'm saying is at one point over the years, the people that lied about their encounters will be looked like idiots because physics is changing. The evolution of the technology of, quantum mechanics and all that is going to change. Like the carbon now, where we can dig up people who died hundreds of years ago and find out how they died. Well, that's even though they're off 12,000 years with the carbon. We're going to evolve at one point and be able to, explain what's going on. There are entities all around us. No, it's not a government, I believe, that is coming in to manipulate us. There are the thought aliens, the think aliens, as Stephen Greer says, which scares the shit out of me, because they're here to manipulate the mind. So you got to be careful, right? Maybe there are demons amongst us right here on Earth that are here as humans amongst us, because I do believe the aliens are intertwined with us. They're here to protect Earth. Any human that's going to try to destroy the race or harm the atmosphere or any atmosphere outside of Earth is going to pay for it. We're going to know about it. The aliens are going to declare themselves, and we are going to know about it, no matter what anybody thinks. In my opinion, I don't think that's going to ever change. That's just my opinion, though. Andy, thanks again. It's getting a little crazy. Look at it the way you want. Is there a satellite? Is there any satellite data or images of UFOs? David Grusch was asked. There are multiple cases that he said but cannot explain, even with a degree, his degree in physics. He cannot even explain or start to explain what's going on with most of the events. And he said science isn't there for another 20, 30 years, maybe, just to give you an idea of that. I think that's awesome. If God was here, look at it the way you want, atheist or not, or religious or not. If God was here, do you think he'd do it in a way where a human's going to turn around and say, oh, well, God got caught because we're able to find the God particle and kick him in the ass as he came in. We locked him in a genie lamp, and we're going to send him back to the Crystal Palace way up into heaven, over there somewhere, wherever the hell is, right? I said a lot there, wherever the hell is, because, things are backwards and people don't know that yet. It's not something I'm going to flourish on. I know what's going on. Look at a bee's nest honeycomb with, the honeycomb. People doing the honeycomb studying. Good. With layers, magnetic, hard metal, soft electric force. Can't mind the rest, the magnesium. Yeah, well, it's funny you're talking about magnesium too, because that's another material and or element that they are thinking of using to create material that's solid but not heavy. For some screwed up reason that they want to do that. Which base is holding alien craft? He also asked that. Will be answered in private. So the government is going to know who's holding the alien base. So now we have to hold the government to account for what they know or what they're going to know now by who these people are. Are they going to tell us? If they don't tell us, again, they're scammers. They're scammers. They don't have to do an alien invasion. So hear me out. If ever there is an invasion from aliens and it's real, just don't go outside and slap one in the face and say, yeah, I know this is all fake bullshit, because you might be surprised as to what's going to happen. There will be an alien invasion, I believe, and it's not going to be seen. Think of it, guys. Aliens invade. They're hiding in freaking mists and smokes, okay? And now all of a sudden they're going to come down with big noises and lights and rock and pew, pew, pew. They can make charcoal with us without ever showing themselves. They don't even have to come into our physical world to be able to cook the entire solar system. The solar system is in harmony with all the aliens, right? There's good and bad aliens out there. What we have here partly is out there. We can't depend on our building here and our technologies to look at the moon and look at a building and automatically you see a square and you go building, or a schoolyard or a swimming pool. It's not only swimming pools that are square. We have machines here on Earth that are not symmetrical. A lot of people get mad at me when I said, what the hell are you talking about? What's symmetrical about winding pipes that, are always turning in every angle or have uneven angles with wires and a whole bunch of insulation or whatnot? There's nothing even with, anyways. Depends on how you want to see what the objects are in the moon. They are structures, and most often I call them structures. They look like industrial buildings. It's partly my theory. I believe there could be some buildings up there, but I don't necessarily believe that there are buildings for 100% for sure. Lover of the Lord, why don't you shoot me a bunch of some of the shit questions here, man? You should ask me what I think of God here. You should Tell people that you think I'm bashing Christianity, which is highly an insult when I'm not religious, but I have a hard time saying that because I don't believe in shit labeling. I know lots about religion. So does that consider me religious? You can call me whatever you want. I don't give a shit. Bruce, what is always the U.S.? Why is it always the U.S. government? What about, yeah, you said it. Surah, JK, you said it. Exactly. Suraj K. Why was the U.S. government? What about the Russian, Chinese, and Indian governments? You nailed it. Are they also involved in the cover-up? I believe they are. Susan Ravella, I believe 100% that they are. How are we on the time? I stayed a long time. We're not even done talking about it. I'm sort of happy. In 2 days, we're probably going to talk about the rest. By the way, here is an album recommendation for you folks. If you would like to know where the pyramid meets the eye, tribute to Rocky Erickson. Thank you very much. Mr. White, say hi to your dad, man. I hope he's doing well. And thank you guys for coming in for sure. Exactly. Yeah. What I've always said here, definitely light. Everything's caused by light. I hide the surface with light. You can hide the surface of the moon with light, and you can also unhide the surface with light. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, 7 years to be able to talk about that. And you guys that have been following me know that I never shit higher than the hole, right? That's an expression in French, which you cannot translate. I like translating non-translatable. Speaking of unexplained phenomena, it's a bit draining. Oh my gosh, guys, we talked about a lot of stuff. Honestly, it's very exciting. Be prepared. Watch what's going to happen tomorrow. My goodness, watch what pops up on the news tomorrow. You guys are going to flip out. Watch my music, Bruce's channel. If you guys, it's a hobby channel. No need to subscribe. So nobody's subscribing on the Bruce Cesal channel. And if you are, well, it's not showing up. So with that said, go right ahead and subscribe. If you are new here and interested in the channel, I don't have returning subscribers. I have only returning subscribers. I don't have subscribers that come here on the channel. And I guess I won because if they're only, I throw them off. You know, when you want somebody, I create diversions. I talk about subs all the time. It's an honor. Who would not be honored to be one of less than 300,000 people? Yes, by the way, to have 100,000 subscribers. Don't believe me? Look it up. There's far from not even 500,000. There's about 250,000, a bit more people that have 300,000 100,000 subscribers. And if they want to stop the subscriber count from going up, it's not going to stop me from producing the videos. It looks really bad. I'm not going to hide it. My revenue, as small as it is, we're not talking about revenue, but yeah, it was eating about $80, so I really didn't like, but that's how it is. So when you come back, you guys, and it's a free channel, and you view the channel amongst the contributions like Norma C and my event and every way that you guys help the channel grow. Thumbs up really shows and helps. The share button in the community, you all have communities, but nobody shares the image that I showed of the base in their community. It should be shared everywhere and, start a firestorm. Like literally people should be pop, 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 pop. You obviously know that the professionals took that image and counted every single object that was there and measured the distances in my image to be sure that I didn't add anything. And the very beautiful thing, if you go in a community and saw the image of the base there, you will see that the libration effects are showing, that the objects are lying down, they're elongated, and they're offset. And that is because it's a real image from Earth in space. In space, they say you wouldn't get an image about libration lying down because you're not on a moving celestial object. When you're on a moving celestial object and you take a picture of another moving celestial object, you're going to get the effects, an optical illusion called libration, amongst many other things and terms that some people use. I hope you found it interesting about the UFOs coming here by bending space and time, which is not that complicated. They're adjusting gravity frequencies. There's the guys, inertia dampeners and everything. It has a lot to do with a whole bunch of things that can change and repel any force. Antimatter is the exact opposite of matter. So look at it the way you want. Not the best example, but put two magnets together that are as big as planets that are repelling each other, and you just clamp them together and then let them go and watch the speed that they go leaving. As a matter of fact, the speed's not going to be any more impressive than, guys, our gym teachers, for whatever the reason, I know it's weird, explain to us about the balls, right? Not those balls, the gym balls, throwing them off the roof, how you have a heavy ball and a lightweight ball, and they arrive at the same time. Well, that's the laws of physics. So if you want to produce a spaceship that is able to go into the dimension next door to us, guess what? You're going to need material from that dimension. And guess what? Material from that dimension has crash landed here or has been taken down. They have shot down UFOs. I said shot or taken down UFOs. That was a lot to unfold today, guys. I tried to go through the whole report. I still have all these pages, lots of pages of what happened, the outcomes on stuff. We'll get into it very, very soon too. Day 3 of fasting. If you guys want to learn how to do some fasting, my brother Jason has been studying that for quite a while, actually. And quite a few people are sharing their stories. If you have a fat story you want to share, or you can't lose any weight no matter how you fast, and you want to ask a person why. Like, I mean, if you're like me, there's so many things I didn't know. I didn't know real butter was good for you. I didn't know that, I had an ideal of certain salts, but once you get informed a minimalistic way, you understand, a bit about the water weight. Well, Jason talks a lot about that, and go and check it out. So I'm gonna have to stand up. It's been several hours. I don't want to faint by standing up. And I've all that I would have missed as a comment, troll for truth. Oh, well, we need plenty of that. Yeah, they say there is, my friend. They say there is time. But the problem is that time keeps on slipping into the future. Probably. Time for some ice cream. Irish cream and coffee. Now you're, damn, that sounds good. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here, for your generosity of being here. Dale from DC is here on Vicky Vale's channel. Thank you very much, Dale. Is it Dale or Dale? Yes, right on. Joe from rainy UK. It is bad, the heat here too. 38 degrees here, guys, with no sun. Imagine, and very hot. If you see trolls, let me know. We'll block their asses. No, I don't think there's any trolls here anymore. They got bored with me, most of the trolls. There's only one here, and he's generous today. No comment. Speaking of haze, that's what I called my last little jingle I made. Hypnotic haze. No, it's hypnosis haze, actually. I'm wrong. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I wrote something, guys. I put it up, and I didn't even listen to it. I happened to be before put up a really bad music song, and I made a mistake, and it sucked, and I had not listened to it. So head on over and let me know if it's bad. Any excuse to go over. I'd like the night talk show hosts. say if you subscribe to this channel, everyone gets a pony. Oh, I hate ponies. Bruce, myself, and my father. Thanks, Mr. White. My father, appreciate your stream, brother. I absolutely appreciate them very much. Luke from Republic of Ireland. Very beautiful Ireland. Thank you, my Irish friends. I appreciate that so much. Say hi to your dad, man. I'm sure he's around. Johnny 5, thank you very much. Feeling lightheaded like a BG. Thanks, everyone, eh? Information coming out. It's going to be huge. You'll say, like Trump said, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I love it when he does that. It looks like he's not sure. Mr. Trump, I have a question for you. He'll go, I love it. I love it. It's like trembling power. I have to look it up. Apparently, there's talk about some type of election. I don't know if it's going to be to get rid of Trudeau. Pat Cassar, we're going to have to check that out. Yeah, definitely blew my mind that he is literally refusing Trump and his administration that's literally begging to get on the Joe Rogan experience, unfortunately. That really ticks me off. Honestly, ticks me off. Because you could see Joe Rogan, and I don't have anything against people that smoke. I've smoked before, okay? But Joe Rogan sitting there on a podcast, smoking a friggin' joint and interviewing people, refusing people that are high rankers that want to go on. Well, you know what the outcome is? Why do you think they're doing so? Why did they rent Alex Jones? Why did FBI agents and CIA agents and federal agents and Congress people and you know, even you know, important people run to Alex? Because there's no more media. The truth is going to come out on YouTube. The government has always feared Rogan and all these big channels. Look at the Russell Brand, whether you like these people or not. Hello. He doesn't talk about much, but it has all this attention. So when he does mention something, people are going to listen to it. So Russell Brand, I can listen to him as long as he's not doing this. When he does his eerie. Ever notice that? You probably don't believe me. He nods when somebody's talking. The same way Jeremy Corbell sitting behind his hero. Who was it? One was one of the whistleblowers behind David Grusch. Jeremy Corbell was doing that the whole time at the briefing. I must be attention deficit disorder because I was not able to hear anything Burchett was saying unless I wanted to put up a book on the screen so I could stop seeing Jeremy Corbell's head bouncing up and down like that. You know, what the hell's he doing there? He's an investigative journalist, you know, so you have to wonder why he's there too. Give or take. And listen, who would I be to say that all those people are fake when I have declared a lot more than they've declared? I've shown a lot more than they've shown on the moon. And you know what? All you people that are here know that I showed something for real and credibly shown virtually on the moon. You guys aren't jumping off bridges. You're not, destroying your churches and burning them down. And you're not jumping, taking your lives because of the truth coming out. It's not the people that are going to flip out when the truth comes out before I get off here. It's going to be the government. The governments are the ones that are going to be petrified and horrified. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming on. This was too short, but I stayed on an extra half an hour. Could be maybe streaming tomorrow or something before Friday. If not Friday, we have lots to cover. George Huxley, thanks for being here. I know I must have missed a lot of people, guys. I'm so sorry about that. I am so sorry. So sorry. So sorry. Hi, Bruce. It's good to see you. Thank you very much in the house. Thank you very much. Seek YDD, Sir Animation Studios. Love it. With all this coming disclosure, we should Be at 1% of download. Right on, George. It's a coming. 25. Thanks again, everyone. I will talk to you all very soon. Thank you so much for coming in, and be on the lookout for scammers. If you want to be emailed by someone, it's tricky because you're going to turn around and say, I don't really want to say no because I'm going to pass off as a freaking savage. No, I get viruses. I'm not going to interact. So be careful with who you interact with in this community. I saw the good oldies but goodies, misheard, and all the fake ass trolls that are still attacking. They were on PK Imaging, which I went to see recently to see the same old trolls are there. It's like, I don't know. It's like maggots form the same year every time somebody drops off a piece of meat in that section. But that's how it is. The jealousy of the goal is that online there's big scams of being able to manipulate UFO videos. When I started showing real UFO videos, it freaking blew the minds of most of the frauds online, and they started hating me. They were the first people to hate me. I was interviewed on Project Camelot, guys. She's no longer on YouTube. Look up the interview. I was young enough when I was interviewed too. John Lear, I had many interactions with him. He had my phone number, by the way. So did some of his friends, unfortunately. And some of these people are not what you think. When you see figures on television, they look awesome. Didn't DeSantis look so awesome? I thought he did. I thought it was like a really nice guy until, his campaign that he's getting someone under the table to do for him against Trump. But, that's how it is. These people are lukewarm. They're lukewarm. It's my favorite expression. You're hot or you're cold. You can't be one or the other. It's one or the other. You can't be both. Can't be between two. You're either a completely good person or you're a bad person. You can't be half good and you can't be half bad. I believe. Definitely has been hidden for sure. All right, you guys. Love you very much. Thank you, Thank you very much. And I'll talk to you all very soon. Thanks for the incredible support to the Bruce Sees All channel. I do this full time. My name is Bruce Swartz. I own a 14-inch telescope. I film the moon. I have infrared cameras. And aside from that, I'm lucky to be able to get the chance to have many UFO sightings and anomalies and phenomena occur around me. Look at my paranormal videos. Look at the ghost that was in the house. I filmed fire in my house. I'm the luckiest person to be alive, honestly. And I thank God for having sent you all here because I do believe that the higher being is possibly possible, that somebody did create this universe. Maybe even his or her or its energy is still around. And I think it's important to remain open-minded. Love you guys. And I'll talk to you all very, very soon. Nanu freaking nanu.